Chris, and I got Steve with me. We're going to be talking about MMOs, specifically World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy. I've been playing WoW since day one, recently stopped, and Steve's into Final Fantasy. He's also played WoW. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Not too bad, man. What's going on? First podcast got some
Yeah,
jitters going on. Got some butterflies in my stomach.
yeah. So, with are you playing any MMOs right now?
Um, I'm on a short hiatus from FF14.
Okay, yeah. So I haven't played anything. I played a little bit of FF14 with you few months, like maybe weeks, maybe a month ago. I stopped. I haven't played anything, and I'm. I don't even know if I'm into MMOs anymore. What?
They're a big time commitment. I mean, the people make their whole life about them. I've been listening to a
Yeah,
lot of podcasts about FF14, and these guys, it's like all they do besides work and their family life. All their free time they spend on one game, an MMO.
yeah. Well, yeah. We were in our 20s, late teens when we first started playing MMOs. Now it's like 20 years later, and I find that I don't have enough time and the money. You want to spread it out with like Game Pass and things like that. How do you feel about
I'm
like that?
irresponsible with my money. If I see a game that I want, I buy it. I also have Game Pass for basically 3 games, and I just throw money out the window, and I can't. I really shouldn't because I'm a poor. So,
Right, right.
but you gotta have something to do, man. I have a lot of free time. Unlike, I guess, I'm sorry to hear that you don't have a lot of free time, but I've got nothing but free time, so it's always
Yeah.
filled up with gaming.
So when my first MMO was EverQuest, and I thought it was like the best thing ever, and I thought I was going to be playing EverQuest and MMOs forever. And then, yeah, like you said, the time commitment, it kills you. But being able to connect with people, especially back in like the late '90s, early 2000s, it's so amazing to play with other people, especially like at that time when you're a nerd, you might not have like a lot of other people to play D&D with. Like at the time it was amazing, but now it's lost some of its shine.
Yeah, I remember back in them days, I had an IRL guild. And
Hmm.
we had 10 people. We had a fucking raiding party, and we did Nax Ramus, man. Those are some of my best MMO memories.
Yeah, I
We had
remember
like
doing
event and
Karazhan.
shit.
Hmm. Yeah, we used to run Karazhan like every Thursday, I think it was, and it was like the highlight of my week. But people get kids, they got responsibilities, and I think WoW also has like it feels like they rehash the same thing over and over again. Like you don't actually progress. It's like basically the expansion is kind of its own thing. You play the expansion, and like the next expansion doesn't matter how much you play. Like all your work is kind of gone, or at least in the amount of work I can do.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've been listening to a lot of I mean, everybody's talking about WoW and with Asmongold and doing his thing, and I listened to this guy Buana. He comments on other people's videos on YouTube and shit. He basically like they were saying like there's one certain thing in each expansion, and then they just throw it out the window in the next one. Like the last thing I remember, the big deal when I was still into WoW was garrisons, and those were just. Are those even a thing anymore? How long did those last?
Those were Warlords of Draenor that I like that expansion, but that was generally considered a bad expansion. It was Warlords of Draenor, Legion, and then uh, Battle for Azeroth, and then now Shadowlands. So that was like 3, 4 expansions ago. But yeah, the garrisons were good, but it's just like you can only kill so many boars, and like for me, it's just it's formulaic. It doesn't have that like the first time I ran from Orgrimmar to like Thunderbluff, it was amazing going through the Barrens, and now it's just it doesn't excite me anymore.
Yeah, like a month or two ago, back when I was trying to get you into 14. I played WoW, and I was all gung ho about it. I was gonna make a new character and start fresh. I didn't even fuck around with the trial. I was like, I'll pay $10, whatever, just to get all the bells and whistles. And I was just like, this world is too big. I'm running for. That's one of the main things that like turned me off and made me just like decide to not even continue with it after the first day was it just took way too long to get places. And it's not
Yeah,
like that in 14. I mean, the maps are a bit smaller, but there's more shit around. If that makes any sense.
is it like more of like a progression thing, or is it like you just want to constantly have action, constantly get that dopamine hit, having stuff to do?
Yeah. Like I couldn't take a flight path anymore. Like I didn't even do that when I played a little bit ago, and that would have killed me. I mean, I would have just lit up a cigarette and sat here. And
Yeah.
and in 14, traveling is instantaneous. If you go to a town, there's like a huge crystal, and you attune to it, and any crystal you've been to, you can teleport to for a small fee of gil or gold. Is the currency is called gil in Final Fantasy 14, and it's just a little
Okay.
bit of gil depending on how far away you are from where you want to go.
So kind of just like Diablo. That actually sounds a lot better. Yeah, the flight pass in WoW. But I mean, like at the time when WoW came out, flight pass were compared to EverQuest. Like I remember to get somewhere in EverQuest, it might take me like 15 to 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how far away it was, because there was nothing like that. You basically had to haul ass. At the time, there were no mounts. But yeah, I think you nowadays you definitely you need something like Final Fantasy.
And
People
I hear
have
they
way
make
too
you
much.
jump through a lot of bells and whistles to get flying and shit. Flying is a simple thing to get in 14. Um, there's like 10 little swirly ether swirls of ether. You just go around the map and explore the entire map. Basically, once you've done that and finished the story elements that are in that zone, you can fly.
Yeah, that sounds that
And
sounds
any
like way
mount can
better
fly
than
too.
having to. And while you have to jump through hoops, you have to wait till the end of the expansion. And I actually played Shadowlands. I think I got my guy maxed out. I did a little bit of Torghast, and I'm just like
I mean,
being in
everybody
like
wants
a
to fly. That was the huge deal of Cataclysm was being able to fly in all the old zones and shit. And that was like such an awesome thing. But
yeah.
I guess it's not as easy as it was in those days, not anymore.
I don't know if it's easy. It's just
Time consuming.
they
You know what? I figured
it,
it out. They want to make things take as long as it possible, so you have to be subscribed longer, so they're getting more money. That's it's a
yeah.
fucking scam.
Well, that's what. Well, yeah, I wouldn't. They drip feed it to you. They basically give you like a little bit. They give you just a taste to keep you on the hook, and they'll just try to like give it to you. But I think they want you to improve the zones. But I mean, like, I mean, there's some good improvements to WoW, but it doesn't. It's not. I think Final Fantasy is like doing improvements. Like when you're the top dog, you're not going to try to be better. You're because you're the top. You basically just try to stay the course and just stay on top. And I don't think WoW's taking enough risks. Whereas I haven't played Final Fantasy, but I've heard Final Fantasy does like a lot of things right, like the NPC parties where you can do a dungeon with all NPCs.
Hell yeah, that's how I finished. So I finished the story. It was I finally did that, and it was I never wiped or anything. It was very easy. And I looked up guides for the first time because I didn't I wanted to be able to competently do the bosses and shit, and it was really fun. It was like look up a guide, do a dungeon, look up a guide, do a dungeon, and it's called the trust system, and the NPCs are spot on. If you don't know where you should be standing, just go stand next to an NPC because they're not going to be standing in the fire and shit.
That's really cool, especially when like we played WoW for a while. I played with some other friends, but like a lot of what happens is your friends leave, And like if you're into the kind of group progression, you either have to go with randos, and that sometimes that's a bad experience, or you just play by yourself and your friends are gone. So I like that.
Yeah, that's I was for a long time. I was really trying to get other people to play 14 with me, like you, and then I asked my brother. Actually, I asked both my brothers. I brought it up. It kind of became a meme. I kind of made a joke of it, and because there's that meme, like, have you tried the Final Fantasy 14 trial with Heaven's Ward? Blah blah blah. I can't say it, but you probably heard it.
I've seen it, yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
like I want some IRL people, but along the way, I have made some friends that are just from the game. I don't know them I don't know them in real life. And like, if you find a good free company, which is basically what the guilds, basically a guild, then yeah, you've got a built-in friend system basically.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of in the game. It's good when games kind of set that up where you meet people and you. I was playing Classic for a while, and I had a guy like that who I was playing with. Like we do quests and stuff together.
Like there's
And
this
that's
guy I ran into early on. Maybe I was a month in, and he just ran up to me and he's like, "What's going on, man? Want to join my free company?" And I talk to that guy every day now. It's funny.
it's awesome. So like you're not you're kind of on Final Fantasy right now. What's it going to take you to get back into Final Fantasy or another MMO?
$12.99. I
Is it
don't
a
know if I
patch?
would ever attempt another MMO, unless unless it was like a One Piece MMO, the anime One Piece. If they made a really tight, awesome MMO from that, I would try it out. But it'd have to be some kind of I. I don't know how this makes me sound, but I wouldn't try anything that was like its own IP. It'd have to be something that I'm already interested in, making
Okay.
its own MMO.
Because we're older and we don't like new things because
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
old.
set in our ways.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
yeah, I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
like, I saw this guy on Twitter the other day. He's like, if the only JRPGs you play are Final Fantasy, you really need to try out some new ones. And I have been over the past 6 months. I've been frivolous with my money, and if I see a game that's popular and people are talking it up, I buy it and play it for an hour and then never play it again. But I bought
Yeah.
all these Tales games. I think the most famous one is Tales of Symphonia, but I got Tales of Berseria. I actually tried that out yesterday and played it for about an hour. Got it into my first battle, and I was just like, "What the hell am I doing?" And I think I'm gonna give it another go, but I'm not locked into it yet.
That's the thing. Like now, there's like so many freaking games. Like I literally own probably close to 1,000 games because you can get them with well not own, but I have access to over 1,000 games.
And I bought the
Well,
same Final
more.
Fantasy games over and over and over again on different consoles.
Yeah,
That's my thing.
you got Game Pass. There's like so many things like for your attention. Game Pass, you get free games with Epic, you get free games with Origin, and all these places just trying to get your attention. And it's like the money is a big hurdle for me too because I just don't want to throw away the money. But
And then there's gotcha games, of course.
yeah, they all got mobile games. Like you
Yeah.
just as a gamer, you have so many choices, and maybe it's not. Maybe WoW's always been the same, but with all the choices now, WoW's got to work a little bit harder for my money and a little bit harder for my attention because I have so many options.
I think that they just need to make WoW 2. That's what
You
they
think
really.
so? Do you
I
remember?
mean, there's so. I look at the character models and they have been updated since vanilla, but compared to the detail and the equipment and shit in 14, it's like no comparison. Maybe I'm not seeing the end game gear that's been out in the past 3 or 4 expansions, but I looked at my highest level guy and it's like pixelated and shit. I don't want to talk too much shit, but
Is it more of an aesthetic thing? Like for me, it's like I really don't. I could actually play like I used to play text games, text MMOs, and it's not. I'm not so much a graphics guy, but like, give me something, give me something new, get me excited,
Like
because like
they say that glamour, or in WoW terms, transmog is the end game of Final Fantasy 14. Basically, just making your character look as cool as possible with whatever kind of combination of outfit you can put on them, and
yeah,
that is a huge part of. That's probably like 30% of the joy I get is like coming up with new combinations of making my guy look cool.
yeah. I remember I dated a girl and she played like a browser MMO. It wasn't kind of like Maple Story, but I forget what it was, and it was just basically collecting rare outfits and decking your character out like in rare wings and like dresses and shit like that.
They just came out with this Marvel game that I'm seeing advertised, with like 4 million different combinations of outfits for all the Marvel heroes, and I'm like, they're just maybe I'm being cynical, but they got that idea from FF14 and the glamour, maybe.
I think it's been around. I mean, like when it comes to like you see on the internet like such and such did this first, and like you're a copycat. Do you find any like validity to those arguments?
I
Because
mean,
I
the developers themselves will tell you that FF14 would not exist if WoW was not a thing. They took a lot of the skeleton of WoW, I think, and rebuilt it into a completely different game, but the skeleton's still there.
well, yeah, that's how yeah. I don't really want original things, just like good things. Like I know I want something new, but yeah,
It's like,
it
I haven't
has.
seen a new movie in 10 years that wasn't a Marvel movie. I don't know if that's sad, but I'm just not going to take a chance on something that's not guaranteed to be worthwhile.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with all the streaming services, why why would you? Like, I've got like a whole bunch of streaming services, and I don't watch most of them.
Yeah, I'll watch, like, there'll be an event show that comes out maybe once a month, twice a month. I mean, once every 2 months, that I'll binge. Like, you probably haven't heard of it, but there's a show called Atypical on Netflix, and I'd followed
Yeah.
that for the final season came out, and I like binged that, and I was not even previous to that. I was not watching real TV shows and movies. I was just watching YouTube videos all day long. People
Okay.
talking
Yeah.
about watching shit, you know.
Well, yeah, and it's like kids watch like a lot of people playing games instead of actually playing games themselves.
Yeah.
I don't uh, don't get that either. But yeah, it's just you have so many options for entertainment, and like where back in the day, like Dark Ages of Camelot or uh, EverQuest and WoW, it's like that's basically all there was, and it was like a huge uh, money investment, huge in time investment, and you just went into it. But now it's just like you just kind of go, it's like ADD, entertainment ADD.
And it's like, if my internet ever went out, I would lose it. I would completely lose it because I need that constant trickle of dopamine, I guess.
Well, you see, you got your phone, you have internet on your phone, so
Well,
you're
yeah, that would be my savior. I could
yeah,
watch YouTube videos on my phone until the battery died if I lost power or some shit. It'd
right.
be, let's not talk about bad nightmare scenarios like that.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, like you have like a hard game collection still, right? But I mean, like
No,
now I
it's all digital. Well, it's not online, but I mean, I stopped buying physical games because I was selling them and regretting it months later. So I was like,
yeah,
screw it. I'm not going to do that to myself. I'm just going to buy all digital. Can't trade them into GameStop or Funko Land or whatever to get the next hot game. I'll be forced to keep it, and I'll be happy I did in 6 months when I want to play it again.
right. Well, I have like a box like with over 100 PC games in it, but like a lot of those PC games are from the 90s and early 2000, early aughts, and I can't play them anymore because Windows 10 sometimes doesn't support that stuff.
Yeah, my laptop doesn't even have a CD drive. I have to use my mom's external CD drive if I want to watch my DVD collection. You know.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pushing that way. So you don't actually own anything; that you just basically rent everything.
Yep, and I mean I've bought probably 8, 9, 10 different movies off of Amazon, like my all-time favorites, and whenever I'm gaming, I'll just pop one of those on in the background, and that's like my background noise. I always gotta have something on in the background too. Can't just
Hmm.
do one. I can't just focus on a single game or something. I always have to have something on in the background. I don't know if you're like that or not.
I was when I was especially with EverQuest. I would always have like a movie on or something just because it took so long. But I'm playing a couple different games now, and like when I play Hearthstone, it's just like nothing but Hearthstone. I'll have some podcasts on sometimes.
Podcasts are huge. I'm so glad that they became a thing because they keep me busy as well. And look, we're making one right now, man.
Yep. Hey, uh, did you ever go back and hit some of the old school stuff? Like any games did you go back to? I know you're like really into Final Fantasy.
Um, they just released these pixel remasters of the very first three games in the Final Fantasy series. So I've in the meantime, I've beaten the first two, working on the third one, and then 4, 5, and 6 are coming out in the next month or two. So those are going to be keeping me busy.
Well, yeah, I've heard the remastered the Final Fantasy fans are like losing their shit over these remastered re-releases and
I think they're really well
uh
done, and I love them. They made
yeah,
me really appreciate these games that I kind of. They always sat at the bottom of my tier list, you know. All the newer games were at the top of my list, and then 1, 2, and 3 were interchangeably in the last three slots. But especially 2, I've come around on. I've really enjoyed playing through that. It's got a really unique leveling system. A lot of people think it sucks because of the leveling system, but I like it, and it was a lot of
yeah.
fun.
You know, that's like they're marketing remarketing all this shit to us from our youth.
Yeah,
Like
that's all it is, man.
and then we're buying it because I'm
I will
probably
gladly buy it.
the thing that I'm most excited about right now is the Diablo 2 remaster. And I have Diablo 2 and I can play Diablo 2 at any time, but
Yeah.
I'm like I'm just basically excited for the reskin. It's wild how they get us like that. And there's like tons of new stuff. And like I'm like my time is so valuable and I'm so afraid of a bad experience. I don't even try stuff. I mean like Game Pass has helped a lot with that, but I'm just kind of like I'm old, set in my ways, don't want to try new things.
Yep, me too, man.
But I'm hoping WoW comes back because I'd like to play WoW. I keep saying I'm gonna play EverQuest, and I maybe play EverQuest maybe like once or twice a year for like a little bit.
I tried playing FF11, and that game is a whole different beast. It's an MMO. It's the first Final Fantasy MMO they came out with, and there was like no quest. I mean, there are quests, but you have to go around and talk to every single NPC to figure out what to do, because there are no little question marks above people's heads or anything like that. So I I bought it like 6 months ago, played it a couple times for like an hour each time, and then I never played it again because it was so hard to get into, even though it was a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah. What do you think? Have your taste changed? Because I think back in the day, our bullshit level was a lot higher. Like we would accept a lot more, but there's like so much competition and there's so much so much polished stuff that our expectations have gotten higher for things
Yeah,
like
like I
that.
remember back in the days of the NES, like I would play any new game I could get my hands on. I don't care what it was. I just wanted to try every single game there was. And then I remember when I found out about emulation, that was an awesome time. Like
Yeah.
I was playing every friggin' game I could play, but now I have all the ROMs and shit still downloaded. Nobody call the cops on me, please. But I'm not even thinking about playing them. They're not even on my radar anymore.
Well, there's so much stuff, and like if you got a Switch and you got Nintendo, you can get like a lot of those old, basically like an emulator. They let you play a lot of the old NES and like Super Nintendo games on your Switch,
Yep.
and I never touch them. Well,
Well,
barely never.
there are some good ones on there, but they're really I don't know if they're holding back or if they're ever never gonna bring them out. But games like Chrono Trigger and Earthbound and Super Mario RPG, they would
Mhm.
they would be system sellers in my opinion because I would play those games again. But they're not bringing them out. They keep bringing out weird ass obscure games.
Well, they got them. They got like Mario Brothers 3, but yeah, they are weird ass obscure games. But yeah, I hear you. Like a lot of them are good, and I don't have the old the old control pads, and I'm just using the Switch controls, and they're a little
Yep,
sloppy.
yep. Those joysticks are a little loose right out the box.
Yeah. Well, and everybody's going crazy about that Steam, that new Steam
Ooh,
uh, portable device, Steam Deck.
if I wasn't
Uh,
a hermit and just sitting on my chair and happy with my laptop, I definitely would be looking into getting one of those.
can't play all your Steam games there.
Hell yeah.
So is Final Fantasy on Steam or no?
Heck yes.
Probably.
1 through 9 is on the. Almost every single. I think every game is on there in some
Yeah,
form or another.
play Final Fantasy on Steam.
That's how I do it.
Yes, it just I'm trying to figure out, trying to find my next game, and I just can't do it.
Man, I hope you find it because a good game is important to have. Or at least I don't know if that's the right wording I want to say, but a good game is hard to find, and once you find it,
Yeah,
it can be really awesome.
we just get up and play that every day, and that's just like
It's like gets you up in the
take.
morning.
Yep. But do you wanna add anything? You got any closing thoughts or anything like that?
Um, no, I think we've said everything.
Yeah. So, well, we can probably go into like the Blizzard. Well, they've already talked about the harassment suits and the pay discrepancies, but I think we just covered basically the gaming and things like that. But it's been good talking to you.
You
Uh,
too.
do many more podcasts.
We're gonna be doing this for the next 10 years, man.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. All right. Talk to you later, dude.
See ya.
Peace out.